Virgo suns, Virgo rising, welcome here and welcome back. If you're new here, I hope you find something useful in the 2027 forecast. And if you're returning, I'm really happy to see you. Thank you for your support. So Virgo, what's in store in 2027? 2026 has been a year of processing and adjustment. And the good news is that in 2027, we do not have as much activity in the sky. For all of us, there won't be major planetary movements. So 2027, in a general sense, is about settling in to this new way of being and this new era that all of humanity is embarking on. Virgo, you've had a lot of adjustments since April of 2026 when Uranus slipped into Gemini, where it's going to be until 2033. And it has brought that energy which is either squaring your sun or squaring your ascendant, a galvanizing energy and pushing you out into the world a little bit because it's in your solar 10th house. Now for 2027, Uranus will form a square to your ascendant if it's between 1 and 9 degrees of Virgo. So check your charts and see if that applies to you. If you are a Virgo sun, a Virgo birthday, and you're born approximately August 25th until September 1st, you're going to receive a square from Uranus this year to your sun. And for both of these transits, either to the ascendant or the sun, there's a sense of a new identity emerging. Something being born, something coming out that is fresh and that you wish to explore. And this fits in very well with Pluto, which is now traveling through your 6th solar house in Aquarius. You recall that Pluto entered into there in 2024. It's still settling in nicely. It's going to travel between 4 and 7 degrees of Aquarius this year. And that has brought a real look for you, Virgo, into your habits. What are those habits that you need to change that are potentially self-destructive because they are self-critical or self-depreciating or simply not healthy for you? And I see that you're doing a lot of work on this, and the work continues in 2027, creating new habits. And you're going to be helped in this by the movement of Mars. So even though there are no major planetary movements this year, in other words, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, they all remain in the signs that they are currently in. As you know, Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, in a quiet place for you, Virgo. Regardless, the most important movement this year, because we don't have any major outer planet movements, is going to be Mars. Mars is going to be retrograde for the first 3 months of 2027. And Virgo, that of course affects you because it will be retrograding through 2 signs. One is Leo and one is Virgo. So Mars enters into Virgo in November of 2026. It's going to begin its backwards or retrograde motion in early January of 2027. And then it's going to move direct or forward on April 1st of 2027, and it will remain in your sign for another long while. So what does that mean for you, Virgo? It means that you have a lot of self-development to do, especially in the first 3 months of the year. Please don't think it's going to be a negative time. What it is going to mean is you're going to have to spend some time going within. Whenever a planet is retrograde, there's a deeper opportunity for processing. And with Mars, Mars is our action planet. So when it's retrograde, something is restrained. Some kind of action that we take in the world is no longer possible, or it's delayed, or there's a reason that we can't pursue it now. So we need to therefore turn towards ourselves and examine what's going on. And the retrograde period often offers us time in order to do that. And Virgo, you know, you are Mercury ruled, so you have a very strong tendency towards some kind of worry. Mercury rules the nervous system. And part of this journey for you is learning how to bring in new habits. And I'm very confident that this Mars retrograde period is going to help you with the formation of new habits, new health, new exercise routine, whatever is needed in order to be more whole and more healthy. There's always something to look forward to when we look at the sky, because things are always moving in cycle. And for you, Virgo, that is the ingress of Jupiter into your sign. So that will take place in July of 2027. And my sense is that it's going to bring a lot of good energy into that place that you've worked on with the Mars retrograde. Because isn't it interesting that Mars will be in Virgo back and forth for many, many months. It's unusual. After that, as soon as Mars leaves Virgo, Jupiter's going to step in and be there for a year, either visiting your sun or visiting your ascendant. And Jupiter is known as the greater benefic. It can produce, it can expand, it can bring abundance into your life. There will be 2 eclipse seasons as per usual in 2027, but there is one lunar eclipse in Virgo, and that will take place at 1 degree of Virgo at the full moon in February. So that's a time to pay attention. We'll have a solar eclipse a little bit before, followed by the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So when there is a full moon lunar eclipse in your sign, it's a good time to make sure that housekeeping is up to date. In other words, not only literal housekeeping, but all those areas of your life that need organizing and ordering, some of which one tends to ignore. For example, computer files that are ancient and old and might be backing up your system. It's a good time to prepare by deleting them. With the Mars retrograde, that's also a good time, January, early February, to go through your computer and see what needs clearing out. Maybe it's a time to also clear out the house, get rid of things that have stockpiled and things that are really weighing you down because you haven't used them for years and you may have a tendency to want to hold on to them. It's a good time to let them go during the Mars retrograde. So let's dive into January 2027. 2027 begins with a beautiful new moon in Capricorn on the 7th of the month. And the year will end in a similar way with a lot of planets in Capricorn. The sun is there, the new moon is there. And for you, this is a good time because Capricorn is an earth sign. You are an earth sign, Virgo. And there's a sense of ease as the year gets underway. You're feeling good, you're relaxing, and I invite you to take that time to relax because it looks as if nothing really gets going until around the 13th of January when Mercury, your ruling planet, leaves Capricorn and moves into Aquarius. That's when your daily routines start up. You start to get back to, into the swing of things. Perhaps you've had a holiday break. So very good to take that time. And if you know this in advance, you can plan accordingly. You'll also have Venus, our planet of social relationships, relating, values, traveling through the house of your home. So that may mean being with family, kicking back, whatever you like to do, or simply, relaxing on your own, whatever is comfortable for you. Of course, of most importance is January 10th, the day that Mars stations retrograde in your sign. So I invite you to really relax on that day. Also, perhaps a ritual is in order. What would you like to manifest after the Mars retrograde period is over in April? Plan ahead. You've got 3 months of inward moving energy. So is there something you're going to work on during this time consciously that can then come into manifestation in April? And if you're traveling, take extra time to get from your home to the airport or wherever you're going, as probably many people on the planet will be feeling this adjustment of Mars. So after the 13th, that's when things really start to pick up for you for action, adventure, or for spiritual endeavors. And then on the 20th, the sun is going to also enter into Aquarius. So a lot of getting back into things for you. You're also building towards a full moon, which will take place on the 22nd of January. And that's going to be in the sign of Leo, which is in fact a quiet place for you, Virgo. So while you might be celebrating something, you may also just as easily be putting your feet up and enjoying this quiet time. February. February is an important month in 2027 for you, Virgo, as we have the 2 eclipses. The second one, the lunar eclipse, is in your sign. So this means a lot of preparation, a lot of awareness, as we know there's going to be action. The month begins mildly enough. We've got Venus entering Capricorn on the 3rd of the month, which is a good place for you. It's that place of creativity, romance, grounding children, a good place where things can be born and things can emerge. Just after that, on the 6th, is going to be the solar eclipse, and that is in Leo. And it's, of course, in a very, very important place for you because it's the 12th house, or the solar house of going deep within, the spiritual house, the place of processing. Out of interest, the eclipse will last for as long as 6 minutes if you happen to be in the area of Luxor in Egypt. That's where you'll see it the best of all. But that is a long duration for the light of the sun to be overshadowed. So we don't want to rush about at this time wherever on the planet we are. Our ancestors, the true astrologers, would advise us to remain at home, remain behind closed doors, and to use the time to process deeply and to go within. A couple of days after the eclipse, we've got a combined energy because we've got Uranus moving direct, changing direction, picking up speed. It's in your place of work, galvanizing, and then the day after, Mercury is moving retrograde in your house of partnership, the 7th house. So how are you going to work with those energies? The retrograde of Mercury is really going to take an adjustment, even if it's only for a day or 2. So take that time. How are relationships going? What needs to be said? What possibly doesn't need to be said? Really good time to be aware of how we're speaking to those we love. And then also there is a surge of creative energy when Mercury is in Pisces, and when it goes retrograde can be a very helpful time for us to go deep with those creative ideas, to write them down, to process them, because we can't always be doing in life. We need this time to think about things, to think deeply, and to allow our creative self to emerge, especially for you, Virgo. Many of you are highly creative, and it's only this critical nature of yours when it's turned to the self that prevents you from expressing a lot of your creativity. And Mercury will be retrograde at that eclipse in your sign, which happens at the full moon on the 20th of the month. So a beautiful full moon in Virgo with a lunar eclipse. Possibly grounding energies will be available. And I have a feeling that something very powerful, very good is going to come to light. Something that started to brew during the Mars retrograde in January. You're now beginning to see what needs to be worked on, what needs to be helped, possibly a habit you're giving up or a new habit that you're forming. So whatever the case for your individual chart, take this full moon lunar eclipse and use the energies wisely and well. And it looks like straight after that eclipse you get a bit of a break, because Mars is going to leave your sign and slip back into Leo. So back in a quiet place for you, the pressure's off, and you'll have a whole month to understand what's going on now with Mars back in Leo. Is it bringing up stuff from October of 2026? You'll know what's going on. But once again, as February winds down, use the last week to simply process the two eclipses. It's been a lot. And there'll be plenty of other things to do in March. So take your time. Don't schedule a lot for the end of February. All will be well. March opens with Mercury, your ruling planet, moving direct on the 3rd of the month. So energy is again released. Things start to move forward in your life. The emails start to come in. Your calendar starts to fill up. And there's a lot going on. But it looks to be relatively relaxing. You've got a beautiful new moon in Pisces in your house of relationships early on in the month, and that sets the tone, because something new is being asked in relationships for you. It could be a business partnership, it could be a permanent marriage, or whatever the case, something new could be beginning in relationships. But that's a really good time to begin again. So if you are in a long-term relationship, a wonderful time for a reset. And that's on March 8th. And then a little bit after that, Mercury is going to re-enter into Pisces, into your house of relationships. So bringing the movement there. Perhaps you're going away for the weekend, perhaps you're traveling, but there's a sense that things are really moving forward now. And of course, one of the most important events in March is the equinox, which occurs on the 20th of the month, when the sun moves into Aries and we begin again a new solar cycle. So that's a great reset day. It's in a quiet place of your chart, and you can make a ritual to honor the sun and to give gratitude for your life. All life on earth comes from the sun, and it is both a literal life that the sun is giving and also a spiritual life force, sometimes known as prana, that is coming from the sun and that we are able to receive in our bodies. So open yourself to that light, to that vitality, a very, very special time as the sun moves into Aries. And a couple of days after that equinox, we'll have a full moon in Libra. So that is your house of self-worth and resources. And I'm sure that the light it's shining now is something positive, something good, because you're working so deeply on yourself this year. So see what comes up at that full moon, and remember that Libra is always about relating. How can we give and take? How can we meet others halfway? and not only think about ourselves and our own small issues and problems. On the 26th of March, Venus will enter Pisces, again bringing good energy into that house of relationships. That seems like a wonderful way to end the month with Venus there. If you're not in a relationship, you could simply feel more as if you're willing and wanting to step out and be with others or be in the world. If you are in a relationship, hopefully something good is happening in your partner's life and they're feeling good, and therefore you can also receive the blessings of Venus. April. Two major events for April are going to be Mars and Jupiter moving from retrograde motion to direct. What does this mean for us? It means there's going to be an adjustment and there's going to be action. And both of those movements will take place in Leo. So if you're a Virgo rising, it's going to be in your solar 12th house, the house of self-understanding, house of hidden secrets. It's a quiet place, the place you go behind closed doors to refresh yourself. If you're a Virgo sun, get your charts out. You need to have your birth time in order to find out your ascendant. You can do it online at a common website like astro.com. Find out your ascendant and then look at your chart and see which house has Leo on the cusp, because that is going to be the house that's receiving all this activity in April and also for the other months of the year when Mars is traveling there. So 1st of April, Mars goes direct, 20 degrees of Leo, and it's a great day to adjust your energy, see what's going on, see if any themes are recurring from October of 2026, when Mars was also in Leo. On the 6th of April, there's going to be a beautiful new moon in Aries. And very soon after that, Mercury will also move into Aries. So that's a moment to be very mindful of your communication. Whatever is said on this day tends to have an effect because it comes forward, out into the world, out into your community. So if you do have a message for everyone, a great day to put it out. And also just to be aware that for many of you Virgos, Aries is a quiet place. It's approximately 150 degrees to your sun. So there's always some kind of energetic adjustment required for you when planets are moving through the sign of Aries. It's good to be mindful of that, and it's good to know that it is up to you to make that energetic adjustment. Sometimes it means being a little more active. Sometimes it means being a little less active. And with Mercury there, and of course Mars moving direct now and slowly starting to pick up speed, need to be very aware of how your body is moving through space, what is needed, what kind of foods, what kind of sleep routine. Things might be readjusting at this time. Then on April 12th, a great day to take it easy. That's the day Jupiter stations direct. It's going to be in Leo and it's a big slow-moving planet, so give it some time to manifest and to start picking up speed. It's a very, very slow-moving planet, but it can manifest and it can bring a lot of adjustments in the area of spirituality for you, and it's going to move into your sign in July. So what do you need to finish up in some area of your life before Jupiter leaves this sign? And when I say spiritual, it's a very broad category. This 12th house is a house of processing. So it can be anything from the place you go to really connect to yourself and to quieten down, to something like a spiritual practice that you have. And that's why when you're listening to a forecast such as this, you need to be very aware that it will apply in a different way to everyone. And the responsibility is up to you to apply the astrology creatively and to give the planets something to do, because their energy can be manifested in a certain way. It's an archetypal energy, and you can choose at what level you manifest that energy. There'll be a full moon in Scorpio on the 20th, and that's the first of 2 full moons we're going to have in the same sign. So we're all being asked to learn something about the Scorpio archetype. And it can be a time of things being revealed, being able to go deeply with someone, have a conversation. This seems particularly favored for you, Virgo, because Venus will also be moving into your house of Aries just after that full moon. So it seems as if there is a conversation you need to have, or something you need to really look at, what is being revealed in the light of that Scorpio full moon. And the energy shifts nicely at the end of the month. On the 24th, Mercury, your planet, is going to move into the house of travel, expansion, going to faraway places. And if you're able to travel at this time, wonderful. That will be end of April, early May. And if you're not able to travel, I recommend getting a new book, really diving deeply into something that you're interested in, or starting a new study course, something brief, something online, something that opens you up. So a great time to expand the mind, to go on a trip. Whatever comes your way, say yes to it, Virgo. It's a good time for this as April winds down. May. The travel theme continues for the early part of May, Virgo. And there's also a few dates that I'd like to give you just when you could be extra mindful of your nervous system, or if any of you suffer from anxieties or worries. These are good days to really take it easy and be aware. The first would be on May 8th, when Mercury enters Gemini and Pluto moves direction on that day. So 2 things are happening at the same time. They can feel very heavy, and Mercury entering Gemini, while it's a wonderful placement for you in that it sharpens your mind, you get things going, you're feeling on top of things. Sometimes you take on so much that worries or anxieties can come up. So just be mindful on that day. It's not a big deal, but it's good to be aware of it. Also on the 11th, when Mercury is conjunct Uranus, they're going to be up there in your place of work or your place of the public where you're getting around. So once again, you might be very busy at this time, and just be aware. Try to take a moment to breathe, to reset. Don't let the nervous system get overtaxed by any anxieties or concerns at this time. Then a few days after that, on the 14th, Mars is going to move into Virgo, your sign again, and it's direct now, so it's going to trace that path from 0 degrees of Virgo, moving forward all the way to the end, 29 degrees. What are you feeling now? You're going to have an opportunity to manifest all those things you've been dreaming about and to literally put them into practice. So the 14th is an important date. Put it in your calendar and make sure that you are in top form when Mars comes round for its second sweep through your sign. Other energies of note for May will be the second full moon in Scorpio. That's on the 20th. Could bring up issues around brothers or sisters, possibly around transportation or communication. And again, that theme of going deep, looking at something that's possibly been hidden before, airing it out, having a discussion so that the air can be cleared. Straight after that full moon, which is at 29 degrees of Scorpio, the sun is going to slip into Gemini. And again, that's your place of work, your career, your job. So if you are working, now is the time where there's a spotlight shining on that area. Remember that Uranus is also there. So you're going to have the sun moving towards Uranus, which is a time where good ideas can come, new ideas, brilliant ideas even, come to the surface and allow them to be downloaded in your job, in your career. The other interesting thing with astrology is the houses always work in tandem, never alone. So when the sun enters Gemini, it's shining a light on your home. So perhaps you're not working, perhaps you're at home and energy is going to come into the home, or you need to devote more energy to your home. So let's see what arises there. That Sun-Uranus conjunction will be on the 27th of the month, and then straight after that, on the 28th, Mercury, your planet, which represents you and is your ruler, is going to move into Cancer, your place of friendships, hopes, and dreams. Another important day where the energy comes forward. Great day to put out a social media post or to announce something, if that is appropriate to you, but also a wonderful day to begin a nurturing cycle for yourself, because Mercury will be going retrograde soon in the sign of Cancer, and that's going to ask you to self-care, to look at what's going on in your own life. So as it moves into Cancer, it's a wonderful time to just take stock and to be aware what's going on in your nurturing area of your life, and especially in the realm of communication. How do you speak to others? How do you speak to yourself? Is there a sense of self-criticism that might come up for you, which is not unusual for the Virgo archetype? You are the archetype of the harvest maiden who is able to discriminate, to sort the wheat from the chaff. And this process of discrimination is the archetype at its highest. And when we get trapped in the lower mind, that discrimination can turn into negativity or criticism, especially when directed towards the self. So I invite you to be aware of this at this time. The last aspect to note will be a Mars-Uranus square on the 28th of May. Always a good time to be extra mindful. Don't rush about, and use that intense energy that's available to do something wonderful. Clear out, create a new project at home, start a new sweater, start a new quilt, whatever you love to do, start a new painting, start a new mosaic. Let that energy come through you. It wants to be expressed. June. All systems go for June, Virgo, with Mars in your sign the whole month. So it's either traveling over your sun, bringing energy, bringing vitality to you, or it's traveling through your ascendant, shining light and vitality there. Regardless, it looks like the theme for June is balance between work and pleasure. If you're not working, it simply means you are stepping out in the world. You're also spending time at home. And there's some kind of adjustment that you need to make. Perhaps you feel torn because you can't be at home as much as you would like to. Or perhaps you wish to be working more and you're simply trapped at home. There's not enough going on. So you need to keep yourself busy. Regardless, there is a new moon in Gemini at the beginning of the month. That's on the 4th of June. And of course, when there's a new moon in Gemini, we're going to have action with any planets that are in Virgo. We know that Mars is there. So be aware there will be a Moon-Mars square around that time. And we always need to be mindful of our health when Moon and Mars hook up. So with that new moon, it's in your solar place of work, and it's followed a couple of days later by Venus entering there. So Venus bringing that love, bringing that beauty, bringing that good social energy into the job, into the workplace, something you can use. And as always, that energy might be directed into the home. So see what you can make of it. And you will have a full moon in Sagittarius at the end of the month. So that is in the area of the home. So really there is something that is being juggled here, and you want to be able to see how you can balance that energy. Full moon in Sagittarius is a wonderful energy. It tends to be relatively light-hearted, and make sure that you are using it actively at this time. The moon will be squaring your sun or squaring your ascendant. So that's bringing energy that needs to be used. When we don't use the energy of the full moon in a constructive way, it can often unravel as arguments. Or for Virgo, you often don't spit it all out. You keep it inside. You hold that negative energy inside. And what we prefer to do at these full moons is to be physically active and to use the energy constructively so that no negative outcomes can arise. And that full moon in Sagittarius will be on the 18th of the month. But we also need to be aware that a week before that, on the 10th, is when we're going to begin the second Mercury retrograde period. So that will take place in Cancer. We already mentioned it, nurturing self-care, you know the drill. So by the time the full moon in Sagittarius comes around, we want to make sure that we are very, very mindful of what we say and how we react with others. After the full moon on the 21st, we're going to have the solstice when the sun enters Cancer, and it's the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So wherever you are, I wish you well at this time. Another beautiful day for a ritual, celebrating the sun. So enjoy that. Honor, gratitude for the solar principle. And June will end with Mercury still retrograde, but on the 26th, it's going to slip back into Gemini. So leaving Cancer, moving back into your place of work. What needs to be redone at work? What needs to be looked at again? What about restructuring? I know for myself during a Mercury retrograde, that's the time when I have to update all my software and clean out my files and check that things are working. So I invite you to look at that, especially after the 26th of June, Mercury retrograde in Gemini, in your place of work. Maybe you need to throw out some files and digitalize them. You know, they're taking up too much room. You have an opportunity now to put them onto a hard drive or onto the cloud. Very good time to do that. And it seems like a good place to leave the video there. You're well on your way for 2027, and I will make another video, part 2, which will deal with the astrology of July to December. If you can find it in you to like and subscribe, if anything was helpful or useful to you in this video, it helps me to grow the channel. And please leave me a comment. Always wonderful. I read them all. Until next time.